Hi everyone, welcome. Today I want to cover something a bit more advanced, which is knife edge flying. But to start with, I want to demonstrate what that is. So this is knife edge flying. The plane is flying on the edge of the wing. I can turn it around like I'm doing. And that's basically what knife edge is. I could roll it around and fly any direction I want. So that's basically what knife edge flying is. Let's just bring the plane around. Okay, so let's talk about the controls. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to quarter roll the plane to either right or left, so not do a full sort of roll. So if you're going to roll the plane to the right, your elevators and your rudder are going to change. Your rudder is going to act as your elevator, and your elevators are going to act as your rudder. So actually you're going to be turning the plane with the elevators, not the rudder. When you roll the plane to the right, the plane is naturally going to want to dive towards the ground because you've taken the wings out of the equation. So you're going to need to put a bit of rudder to keep the plane from diving towards the ground. Now it's quite easy because whichever direction you decide you're going to roll the plane, the rudder needs to go the opposite direction. So if I'm going to roll the plane to the right, the rudder needs to go to the left. But if I'm going to start rolling the plane to the left, the rudder is going to need to go to the right. So whichever direction the ailerons go, the rudder goes the opposite direction. Now how much rudder you put on is going to depend on how fast you're going and the kind of angle of attack you want to have. The faster you're going, the less rudder you're going to have, and the slower you're going, the more rudder you're going to need to put on, as a general rule. But generally speaking, you need probably about that much, sort of about 40% rudder, there or thereabouts. Now the elevators are going to control which direction you turn, but depending on whether you've rolled to the right or the left, they could control both directions. So if you've rolled the plane to the right, down elevator is going to turn the plane to the left, up elevator is going to turn the plane to the right. But if you roll to the left, your down elevator is going to turn the plane to the right, and your up elevator is going to turn the plane to the left. So it can change depending on which direction you decided to roll. But knife edge is actually not very complicated, and most planes will fly very stable, but you do need a fairly aerobatic plane. You'll find that if you try and do it with a trainer, even though some trainers will be able to knife edge, it will actually be more difficult. But if you have an aerobatic plane or a 3D plane, they'll do knife edge no problems. So let's start by taking off. So I'm going to take off, I'm going to roll the plane to the right, and then I'm just holding left rudder. Then I'm using my down elevator to turn the plane around. It's as easy as that. I can roll it and then hold opposite rudder. Now I'm using my up elevator to bring the plane around. And the plane is just flying nicely on its knife edge. Now I'm going to use down elevator to bring the plane around. And the plane is just flying nicely on its knife edge. Now if you notice, I've got full throttle on. The plane is extremely stable. I can do quite tight turns. And if I want to drop the plane, all I'm doing is putting slightly less rudder. The plane is going towards the ground, and then putting more rudder. And the plane is then leveling out. So that's one way to control the height, is by putting less rudder. The plane will start to dive towards the ground. Put a bit more rudder, and the plane will stay level. Or if I put more rudder, it will start to climb up towards the ground. So that's one thing that your rudder controls. The next thing you need to learn is it's not just the rudder that controls whether the plane comes lower towards the ground or not. The actually correct way to do it is to control it with your power. So if you're flying and you start to cut your power, the plane will naturally start to want to drop towards the ground. It's coming down, and then you add more power and the plane will start to climb again. That's basically what knife edge flying is. It's quite easy. When you get better, you'll be able to roll it round and control the direction that the plane is going. One thing I do want to go through is how to do a high alpha knife edge. Just to demonstrate it, this is basically what a high alpha knife edge is. The plane is flying slow but at a very high angle of attack. And this is basically done by balancing the throttle and the rudder and having just enough power that the plane is just at the right angle. And it's a bit harder because you've got to balance the rudder with the motor power. But this is basically what it is. You need to put a fair bit of power, just balance. Balance the plane. As you can see, I'm not an expert on it. So, knife edge, roll the plane, hold opposite rudder, use your elevator to bring the plane around. As you get more and more comfortable, start switching directions and you look really good. And that's basically what knife edge flying is. Okay, so if you've enjoyed the lesson, found it helpful, or if you have any comments, please leave me in the comments if I've missed something, if I haven't explained something very well, let me know and I'll do my best to reply to all of you. Thanks.